Katie, it looks like we may still be missing some planning commissioners.
Yeah, I do have a few that are going to be absent. So, okay, so the live stream is going. So we've got the recording and we've got the live stream, and we are only expecting, let's see, 2 more, and 1 is in the waiting room right now. So now I'm only down 1 planning commission member. Oh, and there, that person just popped right in, very quick. All right, so we should have everyone that we are expecting to attend this meeting, and they're all just filed right in there, Mayor. So whenever you're ready, you may open the meeting.
Perfect, thanks, Katie. So let me get Zoom scooted over. All right, so today is July 13th, 2021. It's 6 o'clock, and this is the joint work session of the Oregon City Commission and the Planning Commission. I'm calling this meeting to order. Katie, will you please call this very expanded roll of folks?
Sure, absolutely. So let's start with Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Frank O'Donnell.
Here.
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Here.
Commissioner Denise McGriff.
Present.
Mayor Rachel Lyle Smith.
Here.
Planning Commissioner Patty Gage.
Here.
Planning Commissioner Greg Stoll.
Here.
Planning Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Here.
Planning Commissioner Dirk Schlagenhofer.
Here.
And then I have both Planning Commissioner Chris Staggs and Planning Commissioner Daphne West will be absent this evening. So that's everyone. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Riggs. All right, so we have one discussion item. This is a follow-up from our last joint work session that we had on the comprehensive plan update. Ms. Turway.
All right, good evening. Katie, may I share my screen?
Yeah, sorry about that. Just couldn't find you on the list. There you go.
No problem. Thank you. All right. We are excited to be here today to share our final draft of the community vision. The vision is a product of more than a year of intense community engagement like we've never seen before, with particular efforts to engage a broader range of the community than we've seen engaged in projects in the past. So this vision will go on to inform our comprehensive plan, which will have goals and updates that'll walk us towards this vision in 2040. So as you recall, we were here a month ago with the draft vision to get your approval and any changes. So it was good enough to go to the public and see what their thoughts were and to reflect back what we heard in over this year and make sure that we got it right. We did receive their comments, and so we're back to you with the final vision document. So we're hoping to get your feedback tonight, and then the next steps will be a resolution in August for approval of just this vision document as well. Let's see. So with that, we're going to finalize that, and then we'll also give you a little snippet as to what the next steps are in the comprehensive plan process. We'll be going through that through the end of this year and then into next as well. So I have some friends here tonight. We have our consultants from OTAC and from 3J. So I'm going to pass the presentation over to Sarah Breakstone with OTAC.
Great. Thanks, Laura. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Breakstone. I'm a senior planner, project manager with OTAC in the Portland office. I've been kind of lurking in the background of this project, working as part of the consulting team with 3J and city staff and others. Just wanted to introduce myself to everyone tonight. A lot of you probably haven't seen my face or heard my name. I will have a more I will have more involvement, I guess, in this project moving forward. So thought tonight would be a good time to introduce myself, and really looking forward to hearing what you have to say about the vision statement and working with everyone as we update your comp plan. I think with that, I'll turn it over to Anais.
Excellent. Thanks, Sarah. Good evening, Planning Commission members and City Commission. I'm really pleased to be here this evening. I have met some of you through other various projects, so familiar with some faces here, but not all. At the last work session in June, my colleague Steve Faust, you may have remembered, he stepped in for me during a meeting conflict. So this is my first work session with you on behalf of the OC 2040 Vision and Comprehensive Plan update. So Laura gave a great introduction about what we want to walk through this evening. So I will just kind of cue the slides as Laura's running through them and give you a little overview. I'll start with our project overview and a brief snippet of our schedule. So as noted, we are wrapping up a year-long visioning process, and we are finally moving into the comp plan process. So we've spent the better part of the last year with doing outreach and engagement around the OC 2040 visioning process. And the next 6 months or so are really focused on updating the comprehensive plan based on the framework that is set in our community vision. Also, I just wanted to note in the background, there is some work happening, the development of your supplemental housing needs analysis and your economic study. These are technical documents that will inform the development of the comprehensive plan. They are going to be adopted prior to the finalization of the comp plan at the end of this year, but they are just two items that are kind of in the works in the background as we make our way through the comprehensive plan process. All right, so, and just, sorry, speaking to the schedule here. So we plan to begin the adoption proceedings for the comprehensive plan by early next year. So we're really pretty focused on updating the comp plan the next couple of months, and then turning over to the adoption process by January or February of 2022. All right, next slide. So our revised vision statement, last time we came to you with a draft, and we've done quite a bit since we last spoke to you. I just want to give you an update on the activities and the meetings and the discussions we've had since we last met with you. So next slide. A couple of items. So we had a work session with you all in early June. We also followed up that discussion with you all with a meeting with the CIC, the Citizen Involvement Committee. In the meantime, throughout the month of June, we also held an online community forum. And then we also had yet another meeting with our PAT to review the feedback through our community forum. We reported back on the discussion we had with you and the CIC, and the PAT gave some final feedback on the vision statement. So next slide. So just in terms of our online community vision forum, maybe the one thing you haven't heard too much about yet. So it was live for about 3 weeks in June. It did include a Spanish language option. We had about 92 responses, and generally it was actually quite surprising results. Or not surprising, but really encouraging results, I would say. We had a very high level of support for each of the 4 main themes. We had nearly 80 to 90% of respondents that indicated that they either loved the vision theme or they liked most of the vision theme. So that was a very encouraging statistic, and there was ample opportunity for folks to provide feedback as well, kind of open-ended feedback, and we'll summarize a little bit of what we heard from that in the next slide. So let's see, revising the vision statement. So my apologies there, Laura, I meant to switch these 2 slides. Could we go to the next one? Because I think I just made a mistake in the order of the slides. So reviewing the vision statement. What did we hear through the discussion with you and the community forum? Here are just a couple of bullet points that kind of summarize those discussions and that feedback. And I'll just kind of walk through them and then we can kind of reflect on them, or I'll kind of show you what we've done. But the first is to really ensure that all of our statements are aspirational, that they're not there necessarily to document current conditions or sound very pessimistic. The second was a desire to improve readability. One of the suggestions that we heard a couple of times was moving the last statement of each paragraph up to the beginning of the paragraph. There was an interest in making communities singular, so community, so as to not imply any separateness. There was also desire to remove any specific tribal names, so we don't exclude any. Interest in elevating the concept of community health, public health. Also, some felt that we were missing the concept of public safety. There was a desire to make a better connection between tourism and Oregon City's historic and cultural attractions. There was also some discussion around the importance of maintaining existing infrastructure. So in addition to improving and in addition to extending infrastructure in a strategic manner, also placing emphasis on maintaining existing infrastructure. Desire to remove specific references to parks. And then also some conversation around highlighting Oregon City's landscape, particularly its topography, and emphasizing the rivers that flow through Oregon City. So very high level kind of bullet point summary of the discussion with you, the community forum, as well as our PAT and our CIC. The next slide, so if you want to go back one, was some additional PAT feedback. So we just met with the PAT at the end of June to do a similar report back to them and review the vision statement. And they did provide some additional final feedback on the vision statement. So here are just some of the bullets of what happened at that meeting. There was a consensus to change healthy communities, so the title of that very first vision theme, to healthy and welcoming communities. For a while, the PAT has been really bouncing back and forth the idea of also changing the title of our resilient economy theme. So we landed on renaming that one as well to diverse economy. The third was further emphasizing the importance of health and really connecting positive health outcomes to historically disadvantaged communities. The next was emphasizing the preservation of Oregon City's small town feel. The next was highlighting Oregon City's ability to adapt and innovate over time. This is a long-range visioning process, long-range comprehensive plan process, important to note the city's ability to innovate over time. And then finally, strengthening the importance of accessibility in transportation. So I know these are kind of long sentences, all bulleted out, but in fact, they ended up being just very minor tweaks to the vision statement. But I think that we all landed somewhere that PAT members are really happy with. So that's just a quick update on those two discussions. Or I'm sorry, not that discussion, and then all the other discussions we had through all those other avenues of engagement. So I'm going to go ahead and just read out loud to you the 4 vision statements. I'll start with the first 2, and then Sarah will go ahead and read the last 2. It's always nice to hear it read out loud. So we'll start with healthy and welcoming community. In 2040, Oregon City is a place of vitality, support, and opportunity. As the ancestral homelands of many Native American tribes and the location of the end of the Oregon Trail, Oregon City lives and breathes its rich and varied history. Oregon City honors its past and looks to its future through education, art, and cultural programming, and the preservation of our National Register Historic District and local conservation district. Residents have access to quality education, and partners such as the Oregon City School District and Clackamas Community College engage community members of all ages in lifelong learning. And this culture of learning leads to engaged residents in a diverse, equitable, and inclusive community. People from historically disadvantaged communities have equitable access to quality of life services that are essential for health, livability, and economic advancement. Police, fire, and medical services help neighbors feel safe and connect residents to services that promote health and well-being. Oregon City is a city of welcoming neighborhoods, both new and historic, that are connected to nature, grounded in a strong sense of place, and foster personal connections. The next, diverse economy. In 2040, Oregon City's economy is vibrant, diversified, and resilient. Oregon City is a thriving town where residents live, work, and play while having access to the amenities of the greater metro region. A variety of diverse housing choices ensures residents have more options to remain in their neighborhoods and be near family, friends, caregivers, and services. Affordable childcare and youth opportunities allow children growing up in Oregon City to stay and thrive. Residents can age in place and meet their housing needs through different stages of life, and our houseless neighbors find shelter and services. A robust economy creates living wage jobs, and a network of small local businesses flourish in a progressive business environment. Visitors come to Oregon City to experience the town's historic and cultural attractions and enjoy the lively downtown, as well as local dining and shopping throughout the city. Community members feel connected at events like the First City Celebration and the Farmers Market. The completed Willamette Falls Legacy Project provides a waterfront destination that serves as a center of economic activity for the community.
Over to me.
Yeah.
For connected infrastructure. In 2040, Oregon City residents are connected physically and digitally. In the same way the municipal elevator ties neighborhoods together within the city, Oregon City connects people to places through a network of safe and convenient streets, sidewalks, bike paths, and multi-use trails. Public transit facilities bring residents to their destinations efficiently, and community members of all ages and abilities can walk, bike, and roll safely between school, work, play, and home. A culture of equity, coordination, thoughtful planning, and fiscal responsibility guide growth and development while preserving our small town feel. Infrastructure and utilities such as water, sewer, and stormwater are maintained and improved in established neighborhoods and strategically planned in developing areas. Access to state-of-the-art communication infrastructure closes the digital divide, strengthening education and engagement, and provides a lifeline to emergency services. Oregon City is a collaborative and effective partner that coordinates with neighboring jurisdictions and regional, statewide, and federal agencies to advance transportation, utility, and communication infrastructure. And last but not least, protected environment. In 2040, Oregon City preserves the integrity of its natural resources and connects people to nature. Oregon City is a leader in protecting the environment and reducing the community's carbon footprint because of the city's ability to adapt and be innovative. A climate action plan guides the city's investments in clean energy, waste reduction, air, and water quality. The city promotes an efficient use of land that responds to the town's landscape and topography and weaves natural resources into the fabric of its neighborhoods. The powerful Willamette Falls and clean Willamette and Clackamas rivers are the jewels of Oregon City, supporting healthy habitats for fish, wildlife, and native vegetation. Oregon City is known for its extensive tree canopy and majestic groves, meandering creeks and streams, and undisturbed wildlife. A network of accessible trails and greenways that connect local parks, waterways, and open spaces inspire residents and visitors to hike, bike, boat, fish, and recreate throughout the city.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, so I'm sure that was a lot to take in, but we'll just open it up to your own thoughts and reflections on the draft vision or the revised draft vision statement.
Okay, so if folks can use your raise hand so that I can know who would like to speak. I can always start out. Okay, Chair Schlagenhofer.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, on page 9, I believe it was diverse economy. Can you bring that up? Thank you. Let me move need to move this. Okay. Okay, there's a line, and our houseless neighbors find shelter and services. Is there any way we can add something in there? I was trying to find the words, I can't quite come up with them, but I feel like the houseless neighbors need more than just shelter and services. They need to grow and become, somehow become part of the community again, not just a group that needs shelter and services. I feel like they can become productive members of society. Can anybody think of any way to put that to words? Anyways, that was my thought there. I'm not sure what we can do with that, but it just seemed like that just makes them sound like needy people that are just going to need help. I feel there's more to those people. I think those people are assets in their own way, but I feel like we can help them in more ways than just provide services, or maybe word it a little different. I'm not sure. Anyways, thank you.
That makes sense. I think it's a good suggestion of something to consider. I don't know that I have any wordsmithing suggestions at the moment, but Commissioner McGriff.
How about something to the effect of have access to and ability to receive wraparound services? Or have wraparound services made available to them?
Yeah, it's still kind of saying what it says there, just in a different way. It could be that sentence ends up getting a period before the and then we just address houseless neighbors as its own sentence and say that houseless neighbors find shelter, services, and are able to thrive in our community or become an active. I don't know. It's hard to not sound
Patronizing,
negative or disparaging.
yeah.
So I have to give that one some thought, but
Something about, he's talking about reintegrating back into the community, something to that effect.
yeah. All right. I don't see any other hands, so I'll mention that this diverse economy paragraph was the one that I actually had some edits on as well. It's very focused on housing. And I understand that, but it is diverse economy. So I was just wondering if any other conversations, there was any conversation about the new light industrial area, workforce housing, that apprenticeship program with Clackamas Community College, that whole area to me that is ripe for future development. It may take a while to get there, but to me, that's part of that creating our diverse economy. And I feel like this paragraph is light on economy stuff, and so I'm just trying to find a little more balance. And if you're trying to keep the paragraphs, I will say overall, I think they're all much, much better. I like how they all read. In general, I like all of them. If you're trying to keep them similar in size, I feel like the second to last sentence about community members feel connected at events like First City Celebration and Farmers Market, I kind of feel like that one belongs up in the healthy and welcoming community. You could shift that up and then add a sentence in the economy area about, our industrial, growing our industrial presence, light industry, professional, workforce housing. So I think I'm not going to be able to wordsmith it right now, not at the end of the day. Maybe if you asked me in the morning, I'd probably come up with some words. And then the last comment that I have on this section is the last sentence says that the Willamette Falls Legacy Project serves as a center of economic activity for the community. My personal opinion is I want the entire downtown district to serve as the center of economic activity, which would include everything from Willamette Falls all the way to the Rossman landfill site to the Cove. Like, to me, that's the downtown district that I think can be the center or a center for economic activity. So I'm a little hesitant just to call out that one on one end of our downtown as being a center. So those are just my thoughts, but I would like to hear from other folks as to what you think about those. Commissioner Morrow.
My comment is on something else if you wanted to stay on this topic.
Okay, is there anybody else with comments? Commissioner Smith.
I agree with both those comments. I feel like, and being on the commission for the last decade, knowing what we've been working for and what we've been working towards last decade, I'm not sure that I see all of these mentioned in there. And I think the area by the college and our industry piece is actually a crucial missing piece to this. It is, the tourism piece is mentioned lightly, I think, through this, but really, I think that should take even more of a forefront. The infrastructure based, some of the infrastructure is very citizen-centered and not tourism-centered. I guess I'm a little disappointed by this this vision statement. I think it's not as visionary as it could be, I guess. I actually went through and highlighted sentences that I thought explained Oregon City today, and it's half this vision. So almost the entire first goal of diverse, the healthy and welcoming community, with the exception of maybe one sentence or two, is Oregon City today. So I'm hoping that 20 years from now, we have a better vision than this. I hope we get there. But I think the, let's see, what was the other comment that the mayor made? It was the industrial piece, I think is a big one.
No, Willamette Falls Legacy and downtown.
Yeah, we're not mentioning the heritage area. We're not mentioning some of these things we've worked a long time for. We're not mentioning housing in the downtown. We're not mentioning, what we expect our urban renewal district to become in 20 years. Hopefully there's no urban renewal district and that whole area is rejuvenated. I mean, some of the goals we've been working a decade for, we're not even mentioning in this. So I find that kind of surprising.
Okay, Commissioner McGriff.
Yeah, as a member of the PAC, one of the things that we were trying to avoid was getting super specific. These are aspirational goals. We're not going down and listing every single place in the community where something is happening, because we had discussions about this. And Mike, would you chime in with me on here if I'm going far afield on this? But I do agree that after looking at it again, I had marked that sentence, community members feel connected to. I thought, again, that could go up into the healthy and welcoming community. But I think we could say something to the effect of adding a sentence that talks about, so where it talks about a robust economy creates living wage jobs, and we could add a sentence in there that talks about our thriving commercial and industrial districts, et cetera, something along that line, without saying this district or that district, because again, these are goals. They're very broad. As Anise said, they are aspirational. They are not getting down to the specifics, which is what some of the comp plan language will get very specific and say, under the economy one, it'll talk about those sorts of things and get very specific. But we talked about this a lot, and we tried to keep it fairly high level.
Right. I mean, I do think it's a balancing act, and we are calling out specific things all the way through this vision statement. So it's, I think it's a picking and a choosing. And so there's a balance there that we're trying to reach. But I think Commissioner Smith and I are highlighting, a couple of key pieces. You can not call them out specifically, like Thimble Creek area or area across from the community college, but there is a way to address I like that commercial industrial district and the downtown district, which should be more of a center instead of just the Willamette Falls, in my opinion. So I'm going to go Commissioner Smith, if you have rebuttal, then Commissioner Mike Mitchell, if you're still talking on this same topic.
Well, I'd just say that, yeah, there are still a lot of very specific things. I don't know of a city event that's lasted more than 20 years in this town to mention the first city celebration specifically. I mean, we got to be careful about that specific kinds of things. But what I'm talking about is, overall districts and things that we've clearly as a city said that we want as a focal point in the next decade that aren't even referenced here at all.
Okay, Commissioner Mitchell, and then I'm going to return back to Commissioner Morrow.
Yeah, I agree with the mayor's comments. I have to, and I'm kind of echoing what Commissioner McGriff said. Remember that this is the first page or two of a document that is going to get down into those details and is going to spell out specific policies that support what's in this vision statement. And, just like, I guess what I'm trying to say, we don't want to be, I don't think in a vision statement, want to get overly specific. We use the vision statement to create the policies that say things like, we're going to create the infrastructure to support the industrial lands, or those kind of policies that relate back to something that's in the vision statement. I have to say this, and I don't want to get in an argument with Commissioner Smith, but I think that you might find some disagreement in segments of the community that we've in some way accomplished some of these things in here. These are I think, aspirational in terms of access for all members of our community. And I think our community is working very well, and we're on the right direction for a lot of people. But I think there's still some reach, I guess, is what I'm saying in all of these visions.
Yeah, you picked out the one or two sentences that I feel the same about.
All right, Commissioner Morrow.
Thank you, Mayor. This is something that popped out to me the first time I read a different draft a while ago, and I didn't want to say anything, but given the importance of this document, this is a grammatical thing, and so I just wish that there were a more consistent use of the Oxford comma here. So like, for example, in the connected infrastructure section, it says community members of all ages and abilities can walk, comma, bike, comma, and roll safely between school, comma, work, comma, play, and home. And so even in the same sentence, I just wish there was some more uniformity around the use of that comma, and I apologize for the nitpickiness of that.
Yeah, the traditional comma or Oxford comma. The debate rolls on. There's no debate anymore, and I'm just old, and I kind of live in the past and haven't adopted the Oxford. So I'm saying that jokingly. Thank you for that comment, Commissioner Morrow. We definitely want consistency throughout this vision. I'm kind of picking on myself with that comment. Commissioner McGriff.
I wish that we had a chat in here because I took a sentence. So this is what I jotted down. The thriving commercial and industrial districts create jobs, period. A network of small local businesses flourish as in a progressive business environment. And if we had a chat, I would have typed that in there and sent it off. But thank you, Commissioner Morrow, because I had the same concern you had. And my English thing is starting sentences with a prepositional phrase. And we have two of the goals that do that. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Anissa, I will try to send this to you.
Yes, Commissioner Griff, you can send in your sentence to staff. Yeah, I can only laugh because someone actually called me out on Facebook on my use of comments or commas on one of my posts, and I thought it was interesting. Someone said she sure does like her commas. So yeah. And yeah, so yeah, I did read that public comment that comment that somebody put on Facebook. Any other comments from other folks on the vision statement? Commissioner Mitchell?
I just have one question, and I brought this up in one of the PAT meetings, and I don't know that we got to a decision. I wonder, with how this document is going to be used, should all of these start with in 2040? I know that, the 20-year timeline, that's a state thing. That's how often we update our comprehensive plan. But I don't see this as a roadmap to 2040 exactly. I see this as a roadmap starting tomorrow. So I would like to hear from the group, because if there's a good reason where I'm way off base, obviously, but I don't understand exactly why we're saying in 2040.
Yeah,
I could say,
oh, go ahead, Anise.
just wanted to help. We could also say, by 2040. Typically, vision statements have been written in a way where they read that, at this time in the future, these things will be happening, developing, etc. So I guess it's written in a way that it's a snapshot in time or a snapshot in a future time, but we could certainly change the preposition to say something like, by 2040, we are living in this kind of world.
Commissioner Gage?
I'm not good at wordsmithing. However, a thought that came to mind on the Houseless Neighbors finding shelter and services, would something like this be maybe appropriate? Our houseless neighbors find shelter, services, meaning, purpose, and feel that they fit in. Or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We want them to feel respected.
Yeah, I think that's headed in the right direction for sure. Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. And related to Commissioner Mitchell's comment, yeah, I don't know how this is going to be laid out in the comprehensive plan. So if there's like an introductory paragraph that states that this is the planning horizon is 2040 or kind of addresses that timeline, then I would agree you don't need that in the front of all of these, that you can just say our vision, I would just cut it off and just say Oregon City is a place of vitality and support and just start it without it. But I don't know, again, like how the layout and if that planning horizon is going to be addressed in an introductory paragraph or something like that, which may preclude the need to have it here. Commissioner McGriff, is that a new hand or an old hand that you have up?
Sorry, I'm typing. It is not a new one.
Okay. Anybody else? Last call for comments. All right, Ms. Turway, or I see, Commissioner Mitchell.
I just want to say before we close, I want to compliment the consultant team and staff. Ms. Turway can tell you, I had concerns from the very beginning if we could pull off a thorough public process like we wanted during COVID. But they did it. And I think they've done an amazing job of coming up with a vision statement that really does reflect what came out of the public input. And I just want to thank them for their work.
Yeah, thank you for that statement. Yeah, I think we have a great product, and I'm happy. I'm really pleased with the amount of input that's been received and the breadth of the advisory committee that was put together to provide input. I think that was probably maybe a first for Oregon City for how wide of a look or input we got from across the community. So really job well done on that. And I assume that committee is going to continue in the Oregon or in the comprehensive planning process if there's more to do there.
Certainly. I'm happy to move us along here and just give you a preview of our next steps and talk a little bit about the continued participation of the project advisory team, your PAT, which as others have noted, have been actually really instrumental piece to all of this. And yes, they will be continuing along in the development of the comprehensive plan and having a very active role in it. So it's exciting. So just quick kind of pivot here. Wanted to provide a little update on next steps and what developing the comprehensive plan even means. Similar graphic, maybe a little bit nicer looking graphic than the project schedule, but we went from listening to the community's vision for the next 20 years to creating the community vision, and now we are going to draft or update the goals and policies of the current comprehensive plan to better reflect that vision and Oregon City today. So next slide is, there's a lot of information here, and I don't mean for everyone to try and digest this, but it's essentially just a matrix that helps visualize the crosswalk between how do we get from a broad vision statement down to goals and policies, while also keeping an eye on the statewide planning goals that we do need to address in our comprehensive plan. So under each vision theme, there's a variety of topics that link to various statewide planning goals. Some of the topics here, or the topics are listed in the middle column, and then we are just keeping track of what applicable statewide planning goals we are also addressing in each of these chapters. So your new comprehensive plan will be organized by these 4 chapters instead of the statewide planning goals, which it is currently organized around. And we'll be talking about a variety of different topics within each chapter. Because a comprehensive plan is comprehensive, there will be a little bit of overlap between some of the topics, but we'll do our best to really make sure that the focus is land use based and that we are able to kind of speak to the ethos of the vision statement while also making sure that we are able to organize our thoughts and the topics at hand in a way that is readable and easy to digest. So this is kind of a matrix that our team and the PAT have been working with as a framework for our comprehensive plan and how we're going to organize the content that we will be discussing. So next steps, just a few bullets of what to expect here over the next few months. So as Laura mentioned at the beginning, adoption or a resolution for the vision statement will happen in August of, well, next month. And then in the meantime, we're going to be preparing for some comprehensive plan chapter development summits. Those will occur, and we'll give you some more information about that. We are currently ironing out all the little details around it. But those will occur through mid-September to mid-October. It will be a series of 4 virtual workshops combined with an in-person supplemental activity that we're still ironing out some details for. But essentially, we're going to have a focus on each of those themes, those vision themes, which essentially are a chapter of the comp plan. We'll do 1 week focus on each of those, and that will be from mid-September and take us through mid-October. We meet with our PAT next at the end of October to review all of the work and the feedback that we got through those summits through September and October. Note that our PAT will be engaged in those summits. They've all identified an area of interest, and they will essentially be co-hosting those summits with us and helping with the facilitation of workshops and presentation and such. And so they're going to get more instructions about their role in those summits at our next meeting in a couple of weeks. Then the next point in which we provide a more formal update to you at a work session would happen after that. So after we've had those summits and we've met with our PAT, so that will those updates with you through a work session will likely happen in November/December of this year. In the meantime, as I noted, you do have a supplemental housing needs analysis and economic development study happening in the background. Those should be slated for adoption at the end of December 2021. And then we'll have a draft and a final of the comprehensive plan ready by winter 2022. It's a little broad there. We'll see kind of how the timeline shakes out, but we do aim to have a draft by the end of the year and then a final draft early next year, so we can move directly into the adoption proceedings and wrap up by the spring of next year. Does anyone have any questions on the schedule or the flow of our activities?
I guess I just have a comment on the continuation of virtual meetings when we are able to meet in person. I would like to see a little bit more of a balance there, because virtual meetings are a barrier for some of our population, and we are past the point of needing to do all virtual, and some people really do better with in person. So I'm hoping that there's a balance there. I felt like you said we were doing all virtual summits with maybe one in person. And so I guess I would like for us to make sure we give some thought to that.
Certainly. The idea right now is to have an in-person component with each of the 4 virtual summits. So there will be an in-person component. And then the summits themselves, there was absolutely understood the desire to do something in person. I think there is kind of a variety of perspective on that still. And so we're going to try our best to do a little bit of both so that we can meet everyone with where they are at, including those that aren't necessarily vaccinated or don't want to be vaccinated. So we're going to do our best to do a little bit of both and be able to have as much participation as possible through all these different needs. But yes, the idea is to have some sort of in-person activity that is supplemental to each of those 4 workshops or virtual meetings.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right. Well, thank you all for participating, and hopefully I think we gave you some key feedback. Mr. Way.
Sorry, slow with the raise hand button. I just want to make sure that I'm clear from the commission to come back with, we have all your comments, so we will revise the community vision, and then we'll come back with a resolution in August. Is that okay, path forward, or you guys want to see it again? It sounds like we're mainly there, and we've heard your comments tonight, so we can adjust accordingly.
I think we're pretty close. I think we're probably there. I guess I would encourage the City Commission, if you have comments that weren't expressed tonight that you want to mention to the team, please send them to Ms. Turway. Were you thinking the second meeting in August? Like, if the work session, could we make the August work session be a quick review, or were you thinking, I guess that's the question, are we showing up at a City Commission meeting with the final version of the vision, right?
Right, and then you can always provide guidance at that hearing. Sounds
okay.
As needed as well.
I think we're down to really tiny tweaks, so I'm hoping we'll be there and we can just do it all in August. I don't see anybody raising their hands from the City Commission of a strong opinion. So, all right, we'll go with that. All right, thanks everybody. The City Commission will be moving to its regular work session. It is about 6:50, so let's give us 5 minutes and we'll reconvene with a new Zoom link at 6:55. We'll get started in about 5 minutes.